Hi class, Professor Laney here, Child Development 110, and I'm here to create a video instruction for the virtual family assignment. Now in the past, I used to do this one big assignment and put it all together and say, go for it. Now I've broken it up into small, successful assignments. And even when I launched this last semester, I had them for like 5 points each. I bumped everything up to 15 points. So at the end, we put all these 15-point pieces together, and then we have one final assignment. So I like to start off with talking about the overview. Why are we doing this? So philosophically, when we come to college, a lot of times people are like, oh, I just have this book and I have to do these assignments and I get these points. That is not what we're going for here. This is not what I do. This is not intentional teaching. This is not really a good use of time. So the point is that we have to take what we've learned and apply it, pretend that we're doing something with it, use it in our life, use our brains to think about how we're going to use this in the future. And so some of these things I'm going to ask you to do in the assignment are going to feel a little bit uncomfortable, meaning like I'm going to ask you to pretend that you're opening a preschool. Now, I know a lot of you don't want to do that, but for the point of this assignment, we're trying to get you to understand what it's like to have a family and those different pieces, those different systems that are involved in socializing a child. And so when you take on a leadership role in a child's life and you're not the parent, you also have that piece of your education that you get to utilize, right? I can tell you right now, yes, I do this. I'm an educator, went to college forever. And yes, I know all these things. I'm a subject matter expert. I have a child. I don't necessarily put all these things into place, or I'm not necessarily mindful of like the macro system influence on my child. And a lot of parents aren't, even if you know this stuff. So again, we're trying to get you guys to look in the future. Now, some of you are here to be firemen, or some of you even want to do like water, wastewater, or you want to be an SLP, PTOT, athlete, biochem, liberal arts teacher, anything like this. These types of things, when people go, oh, this doesn't apply to my future. Yeah, it does. Okay. Again, if you're not going to be a teacher, are you going to be a person who influences children? Probably. Even if you never have children, are you going to be an auntie and an uncle? Probably. Let's say you're working in an office. Are your coworkers going to have children? Yeah. Let's say you're a manager at, let's say, In-N-Out or something like that. Are there going to be children at your? Yes. So again, we were all children. Children get developed. Child development applies to all of it. So again, taking this massive assignment and breaking it into parts, I thought would be a little bit more successful. So right now, I'm just going to give you a quick overview, and then I'm going to show you part one. Super, super easy. Don't freak out. Don't overthink it. I would say each section could take you an hour or two tops to do it. Again, showing a good, nice product, a professional, collegiate piece of information. If I ask you to do a welcome letter, don't scribble it on a paper bag with like pink sparkly glitter pen and then take a picture of it and submit that. You think I'm making that up? I'm not making that up. That has happened. Please don't do that. So I'm very specific in my instructions. I've had a couple people say my instructions are too specific. So if you get confused, you get overwhelmed, or you say that's too much, I don't understand, please reach out to me. I am here. So let me share screen and let's start with that. So let's see, let's share our screen. Oh wait, that's sharing options. I don't want to do that. I want to share the screen. There we go. And let's do a peek on our course modules. Now this could not necessarily be your class, but all my 110 classes are the same. They just are on a little bit different schedule. The assignment is the same. So again, here's your homepage. Under modules, I made it its own module, but you could also find it under assignments. I believe that as you're navigating a computer, there's 3 different ways to do anything, or 3 different ways to access information. So again, I try to put one in the module and one in the assignments. They're exactly the same. They sort of like link to each other. It's just like some of you are more comfortable with the modules, some looking under the modules, and some are more comfortable looking at assignments. You can also access these from your grade sheet. I am a student as well. I do take classes. I'm enrolled in a class right now. And sometimes I just look at my grade sheet and go, okay, what's due this week? That kind of situation. So I'm just accessing it right now through the modules because it's the quickest. So you're going to see all these pieces right here. This is your overview. you're doing all these little pieces. And at the end, you're putting together a final presentation. Now, again, I've done this for years. It's almost expected or mandatory in a version of this. We are trying to align the state of California. So no matter where you take this class, you're going to get a version of this assignment. We are all getting really collaborative from top to bottom of the state and saying, hey, let's put out this assignment and let's all do it this way. I myself am like a little, I'll take it, but then I'm going to polish it up a little bit and do it my way. So it's very similar. And again, this all goes back to the student learning like objective that we have to measure. So on your syllabus at the top, and it says student learning outcomes or student learning objectives, this helps with this, right? So this is the socialization of a child, the interrelationships of a child, and like that help socialize a child, helps develop a child, not make them social. Socialization and being social, two separate things. Being social and socialization, two separate things. Some of you still have it confused. You will not do well in this class if you think those things are the same. They are not the same. And then the last SLO has to do with the historical, political, economic impacts on a child as well. So this kind of puts it all together. And then we have a summary paper at the end. So good. So this first one that I rolled out, and it says it's due June 5th. This is really just like, hey, what is this all about? I have questions. This is kind of that. This is like your go-to, ask your peers questions, ask me questions. This is, or you can put it in the inbox, do that as well. But again, this is kind of like an overview here. So I gave you like a heads up on the workflow, and let's see what it looks like here. Now, again, I change things a little bit every semester. So I trust that this is going to be a little bit, I think that's right. Did I do this? A sample list of resources and books? Those are other resources and requirements. You know what? I think this one, I diverged off of this one. So I'm going to delete this one. It's mostly accurate, but there's a few things I took out. So I don't want to confuse you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out. But this one right here is the key. What we're going to do is you're going to see all these different stories of families, and you're going to pick one. Pick a family. You're going to read these descriptions and say, hey, I really want to work with this family. Now, again, this is you opening a preschool. Now, you could be a social worker. You could be a teacher. You could be a church leader. You could be an SLP, OT, PT, nurse, like whatever, that you have a family that you work with. But for this particular assignment, you're going to pretend that you are a preschool teacher or a preschool director. After all, this is early childhood development, and that's kind of our wheelhouse. And so you can learn from that scenario. Okay, so you're going to go through these vignettes is what I'm saying, and it's going to talk about the Daly family, and it's going to talk about all the different children, the parents. We have different types of families, different types of parenting. Let's see. And by the way, this means here we all share these vignettes through the state of California. This is open license that anybody can share this. So if you see this, that's what that means. We're sharing. There's a Gonzalez family. Okay. Here's your child that's going to be in your classroom. Okay. Robert Gonzalez, 15 months old. Maybe you want to work with infants, toddlers. Great. If you don't, let's find a child that you like the age. Richmond family, 30 months. So it's a little bit under 3 years old, right? 36 months is 3 years. So I have 2.5 there. And then we have Emmett, who's 2. We have Jeanette, who's 3. We have Ethan, who's 4. We have Jennifer, who's 6. We have Jordy, who's another 6-year-old. And so you guys can read through those and pick who you want to work with. Okay. Again, with this is all in the scenario that you are a preschool director. It'll give you more information in there. Who's enrolling in your program. So let's, for example, let's just pick this last one. Meet the Ashley family. Okay. You're a teacher at an after-school childcare program in a low-income area. So again, not a preschool, but you're working with kids after school. All the families receive government assistance for housing and food. Okay. There are more than 30 students in your program, only 3 teachers assigned to the class. So that means like 1 teacher per 10 students. Your role, I think it's ROLE, I could fix that. Your role is to make sure they receive a healthy snack, which is provided by the program. Assist them with getting their homework done and provide extracurricular activities to keep them engaged till their parents pick them up. Oftentimes when you have a low-income family, both parents are working. Child enrolled in your class is Jordy at 6 years old. So 6-year-old is about a first grader, maybe a kindergartner, maybe a second grader, depending on how well they've did academically. Here's their family information. John is a single dad with 2 children. Jordy is 6 and Max is 18 months, so 1.5 years old, single dad. John lost his job 6 months ago and has been looking for work. John and his children live in a low-income housing apartment. John has been working to try to find a job, but is having a hard time, and he only has his high school GED. His goal is to find a vocational program, find a job, and be able to make enough money to get to take care of his children out of the housing system. Each night, John has to wash his son's clothing for the next school day because he only owns a t-shirt and 2 pairs of pants. After Jordy goes to school, John takes Max on the public bus for 2 hours each way to get to the Social Security office. He recently found out they can put John into a job training program and they would pay for childcare for Max. He's concerned that the job he gets will not pay enough to support his children. He was already told that as soon as he started working, he would lose the free childcare and housing. So again, you're not here to solve all the problems, but we will talk about impacts on socialization. We'll talk about possible things that could be affecting the child's development. And again, we're really only focusing on the one child, even though there's 2 in this story. Jordy is your student, right? So again, if that's a vignette that you pick, that you're going to stay with that for the rest of the semester. Good, makes sense. And so from here, that's a handout. You're welcome to download it or not. Let me get this up here. And then for this particular, hold on, I don't want to download that, but it's going to make me do it. Hold on, let me get out of there. I want to minimize that, and then I'm going to minimize that. The workflow, yeah, again, it's very similar, but I think there's a few things in there. So let me update it and repost it. So this is a discussion board. I just want you to reply and say, hey, this is who I decided to work with. That's it. Reply to this as discussion board. You may ask any questions. Please sure you ask your questions here. If you have a question, it's also here that one of your peers has a similar question. When you put it in here, then I'll know. It gives me an alert that I need to come back and read this and let you know. So in here, all I want you guys to do is just put in there, hey, I decided to work with this family. That's it, right? Now, you and your other peers can see who's picked the same families. Now, you guys are welcome to work on this together. It is not a group project. I do not assign group projects. If you want to work on it together to help each other out, that's fine. Just do not copy. That's considered plagiarism. Again, you can work together. You can FaceTime, you can Zoom, you can like Google Chat or whatever and work together on this and then come up with your own answers in your own project. And that's totally fine. I actually think that helps cement the learning. So please utilize your resources, right? Plus you might get to know other people. You might get to know people in the class from the discussion boards, and you might have these students in your other classes too. So you might as well just get to know each other. Yeah. Right. So let me look here, this discussion board, this might be, okay, good. So again, this is where you want to put this. You don't need to put it under the other ones just for questions, excuse me. So this one is choose one family vignette. So you're going to click that link and read through each story. You may choose any of the family, but this will be the family that you stick with and present at the end of the term. Share your choice and why. Say, I chose this family because maybe that story I just read you is something like you went through that, or you want to work at an after school program, or something like that. So state your 3 reasons. And then this one, again, this is what I tell everybody on every discussion board. If I've asked you these bullets, put them in there and answer them like you're answering like a quiz question, right? When somebody puts like one paragraph and has like these 7 sentences all crammed in together, that doesn't help. That doesn't tell me that you've taken time, you really were trying to do your best. And cramming it all together, it's hard to read, right? If I'm reading 30 of these and they're all crammed together, it's hard to read. So make it easy. Listen, for all your classes, make it easy for your teacher to give you all the points, right? So for number 3, I want you to, like, you can literally say, number 1, I chose this family, and these are my 3, number 2, these are my 3 reasons why. Number 3, I'm going to answer each one of these bullets here. And if you notice this, look at, this is all having to do with Bronfenbrenner systems. So we're going to try to identify each relationship, starting with the microsystem. What is a child's relationship or in fact impact on the family? Okay. So that's kind of a weird question, right? You're thinking like, what do you mean? What's the child's impact on the family? Well, you have a 6-year-old. Are 6-year-olds quiet? No. And, you know, the family is the dad, right? And so I don't remember if that gender was a girl or a boy. And, you know, dads do treat different genders differently. And that's there's nothing wrong with that. It's just true. So that maybe that's the impact there. So be aware of those things. Now, here's the thing. I also give you guys a little bit of leeway. So if there's like 10% of the story that you want to add to, a lot of students will ask me, well, how, what kind of this and what kind of job does a dad want, and things like that. You guys will ask me super, super specific questions. You guys have about 10, 20% leeway to kind of add it in there. You could say Jordy has a learning disability, or Jordy is in a wheelchair, whatever you want to like spice it up just a little bit here and there, go right ahead, because that's what life's all about, right? Nobody's exactly the same. And, there's factors as you're working along with a family, say you've known this family for 3 years, and then all of a sudden you learn something new about them. That happens. So again, you're going to answer the child's relationship or impact on the family. Maybe him and the dad, get along, or they don't. It's interesting. I could tell you, when my child was 6, he was very rambunctious. And sometimes in a small apartment with another sibling, it's really much of a challenge. Or what if they're a picky eater? Or what if they have sensory issues? Or what if they like to jump around a lot and you're on an upper apartment, right? So things like that. So it's up to you if you guys want to add a little bit of spice in there. So what's the family relationships or impact on the family? That sounds redundant, but what it means is that's a single dad. Yeah. What do you think that has to do with anything? Tell me for example, here, does this family have any special factors such as culture, gender, domestic violence that impact the family? Oh, a single dad. That's still not very common in our day and age here. It's becoming more common, right? But a single dad sometimes has 1 kid. This one has 2. So we don't know if the mom passed away, or we don't know if the mom ran away or was killed or whatever. We don't know, right? So again, you can add that spice in there just a little bit, right? The community's relationship or impact on the family. Well, it looks like the community is somewhat supportive in that particular instance, with, he gets the housing and the free childcare. However, it sounds like Social Security's like he's getting an offer of a job and they want him to work and then lose his benefits. So the community seems to be supportive, but there might be some factors there, right? And we don't know if he has an employee ID number, like EIN, or Social Security number. We don't know those things either. So again, if you want to add those factors in, it's up to you. The educational relationship or impact on the family. Well, they go to a low income school, they get the meals, which is great, and then they get after school meals, which is great. So the educational relationship seems to be pretty good. But again, they could be, at odds. I mean, I have to tell you, yes, I'm white. My child is not white, but I'm white, and I have a really challenging relationship with my school district. And so there's a piece where it's like that really does bleed into a lot of different things. Like my opinion of his educational career is very different than his. He doesn't really understand all those different things, but overall, like, I mean, what is the educational relationship? You guys have all been in a class where maybe your teacher and your parents didn't connect very well, right? Okay, so make sure you're writing, right? Identify the family impacts, right? So give me at least 3 sentences. I didn't really say that, but 3 sentences to say what could impact, and always more is better, right? 4 or 5 sentences, good. And the political relationship or impact on the family. Now, the story doesn't say, is he a Democrat? Is he a Republican? Right? But what are the prevailing politics right now on low income families or single dads or things like that, or a man who doesn't work? I mean, like, again, does this family have unique political issues? Is this story include Ukrainian refugees, things like that? I mean, I've had families and children that I worked with who were refugees or had political asylum. So there's things like that's a political relationship. They came to America to be protected and had a better life, but sometimes there's extra paperwork and there's all kinds of like red tape to deal with. And so that kind of creates a frustration in a parent. And sometimes, it kind of bleeds over to a child and things like that. So there's things in here that I want you guys to use your imagination and a little bit of spice. So the last one, the socioeconomic relationship or impact on the family. Well, this one's clearly an issue with that. SES or socioeconomic status. He's not working, he has 2 kids, he's not working, but he wants to work. But the second you work, this is called the working poor, right? You guys can look that up. that you can work, but and you get benefits, but the second you work and get benefits, you can no longer get all these other programs. It's like you have to make less than $1,200 a month, but now you make $1,400 and now everything's disappeared. It's really frustrating. So again, make sure that you do 3 to 5 sentences on each one of those bullets. And then number 4, respond to 2 or more peers. Now, again, there could be somebody who has pick the same family, and you're like, oh, I never thought about that. There could be somebody who picks a different family. You're like, wow, that's a really challenging family. Good luck. Right. But have fun with this. Have fun with this. This also helps us practice what Bronfenbrenner actually really, really means. And so again, this is just the first part, and I have somebody who already responded, which is so great. So this is the first part. So get that in there. And again, I up the points. This very first one is 25 points. So you're making a big showing. The first one that says, this is what I chose. These are all the pieces. And so if you want all the points, go for it. Go for it. Okay, good. And for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this particular video. And then I'm going to video like the next couple, just little short ones. So you have instructions just for the short ones. Okay, good. But again, reach out at any time and let me know how I can help you and how I can support you. But consider this kind of fun. You get to create a family and help a family and do all these cool things. And so again, I'm going to get instructions for each one of the steps and we'll keep going. All right. We will see you soon. Thanks. Bye.